Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. And in today's video, I haven't done a roundup of some of the cards that have been released and kind of given my thoughts on them in one general video. So even though they're not quite done and we still have some expansion slots left, I feel like I'd do like where it is at the halfway point, and then we'll do another one at the end of the expansion slot phase. Just kind of talk about the cards, what we think about them, some of the use cases, hopefully give a little bit more, shed some light on some of the use cases at least I see with the cards initially, and just have some fun with it. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Feel free to check out my other videos. I do mainly Flesh and Blood content, but have been doing some Alpha Clash content as well. We actually have an Alpha Clash spoiler coming up this week on the 13th, which should be really fun. So feel free to check those out. If you're in a long-standing supporter, thank you so much as always. Feel free to check out the Patreon and the Discord down below. So I have most of the cards. I don't have every single card. I have like just the mainstay ones, mainly the expansion slot stuff, and then I added in a couple of the cards for context. But we have, I'm going to pull up first here, and the first one I want to talk about mainly as we go through this is Teclo. Teclo Vossen, Esteemed Magnate, the new hero that was revealed. 40 life, 4 intellect hero that says you may play Evos from your banish zone, and once per turn instant, pay 3. You may play your next Evo this turn as though it were an instant. When you do, draw a card. So basically, you know, the Evo mechanic is new, but the fact that he can play Evos from banish tells me that he's also going to be utilizing the boost mechanic. As we pull up some mech cards here, here's some of the other ones that were spoiled. I think just by the way he reads, saying that, like I say, you can play from banish zone, my initial thoughts without seeing his card pool, obviously, is that he's going to want to play like a zero-cost boost. Maybe. This could be one of the archetypes. Play a zero-cost boost, because it doesn't matter if you boost away Evo, you can still play it. And then go into like a big, tall attack like we see here with some of these bigger attacks. So all of these attacks have different effects. From one of my favorite ones is probably Pulse Wave Protocol. The yellow one, it says when this attacks a hero, they reveal X amount of cards from their hand, where X is the amount of Evos you have equipped. And then you are allowed to select a card from their revealed cards that has block value less than the amount of X. So if you have 4 Evos equipped and you attack with this, they reveal all 4 of their cards, and then you're able to grab something that's an action card, I think, with 4 less base. So 4 less base defense. So, or just 4 defense in general. So that one's really, really good. Demolition Protocol is more of a tech into other mechs because it allows you to remove steam counters. And then you have Magnetic Protocol, which allows you to basically force cards that have a -1 counter on them to keep to block. So overall, really, really good cards. Like I said, I think his general play pattern without seeing the cards is going to be that, like, play a 0 for 60, boost. Maybe you have something like a Rotary Ram and Arsenal, because Rotary Ram can buff all of these cards. Break the chain by playing Rotary Ram, play one of these, maybe, you know, for like 9. And then there's another card. It's a Convulsion Amplifier. It's Amplifier is the last word in it, and basically allows you to, it's an item that you put on the field and you remove a steam counter from it, and it gives your next attack Dominate. I could see some cool synergy, like I talked about in my live stream today, about how you play a boost card, you play out Rotary Ram, you take off, you use one of the steam counters from Amplifier to give the next attack Dominate, and then you play one of these for like 9 Dominate, right, with the on hit. So I think it's going to be really cool. Obviously, we have to see how the Evos go into play with that. It's going to be kind of see like if you have to go all Evo, or maybe you do mostly boost with a little bit of Evos mixed in. A lot of these do have to do with how many Evos you have equipped, so you're going to have to equip a decent amount of Evos, right, regardless. And so it's going to be really interesting to see how that works. I'm super excited about it. Mech is going to get, obviously, a huge upgrade to their card pool, so it'll be really fun there. We'll save Assassin for last because that's my favorite one. Next one is Warrior. Warband of Balana is just insane. It's mainly for Bolton, it seems like. It's action, pay 2 resources, destroy this. The next time you attack this turn, you may charge your hero's soul. If it's a yellow card, it's charge this way, draw a card, go again. Really, really good. It has Temper, too, so it's going to block for 3 total over its lifespan if you don't use its ability. Yes, a lot of Warriors armor is temper, so it is prone to giving it -1 counters, right, with the mech equipment or the mech attacks or with assassin. However, Warrior truly does have just an innate fridge, especially Bolton. Bolton now has 2 pieces of equipment that both block for 2 and then 1 with temper, and that both charge the soul. And along with Iron Song Versus, which is also a 3 temper total, and then Refraction Bolters. So if they use all of their block, they have 3, 6, 9, 10 block, and then plus Soulbound Resolve also prevents the next damage if you did charge. So it actually it blocks for 3 and then 2, so that blocks for 5 total technically, potentially, and then you have both of these, an Iron Song Versus and Warband of Balana, that block 6 each. So you're looking at 11, and then Refraction Bolters is 12. I mean, Bolton truly has a fridge now. It's pretty nuts. And it's all innate in their class. Like, they also have, it's not like you're just running Skull Cap for 3 block. You're running a Skull Cap plus its ability that's innate to what your class is trying to do. So it's going to be interesting to see where Bolton is. I think this definitely even propels Bolton even farther, gives Bolton more flexibility, more block, more everything. So it's really everything you'd want in a Bolton card, to be honest. I'd be interested to hear people like Josh Lyle's takes and stuff on it. But overall, like, Warrior truly has a fridge now. And for this to be an expansion slot, like a 1-up for Warrior, it's pretty nice. And the crazy thing is, Josh didn't even spoil this. I forgot who spoiled this. I can't remember off the top of my head. I feel bad. But Josh even has to spoil his card, which I'm assuming is a Warrior card. So Warrior might be getting 2 good expansion slot cards this set, which is pretty nuts. The artwork on it is also really sick. This in full art would be amazing. I hope they do a full art treatment for this card, because the artwork is just so pristine. It's very detailed, very lifelike, right? Like, there's a certain, not cartoonesque, but there's a certain, like, not insanely realism side to Flesh and Blood art, and this, like, literally looks like a portrait painting. So really, really cool card. Really excited for Warrior players to be able to try this out and have a little bit more innate card in their card pool. And then finally, Shriek Razors. This one is insane. We'll talk about some other cards too, but this card I think looks unassuming, but I think it has some really cool interactions, and I'll say why. First off, I think this card's more suited for Arachne than Uziri. I definitely think Uziri still will want to run Flick Knives. However, this card does a couple things. One, it blocks 1 Battle Worn, so you can still use its ability on, like, Flick Knives. If you block with it, it's done. 2, it can come back if you absolutely need it to, if you're generating a lot of silver. But what this card does, so let's talk about play lines before this card, right? So, like, let's say you have, you see a hand example here of Plunder the Poor, Leave No Witness, Command and Conquer, and Cut to the Chase. Let's just pretend, let's just sit in your hand. I'm just kind of giving different synergy cards it has. Let's say your hand is 2 blue Plunder the Poors and Leave No Witnesses. Normally in that hand with what we have right now, you have 2 options. You can pitch to Spider's Bite, then pitch to probably Nerve Scalpel is probably what you're running, and then play Leave No Witness, right? With 2 floating, not much you can do about it, right? That's the best you can do. Or what you could do is pitch to maybe just Spider's Bite or just Nerve Scalpel, depending on who you're playing, and then but you don't really want to arsenal a blue Plunder the Poor. So you're probably going to bite twice or dagger twice into Leave No Witness. Your opponent now knows exactly what they have to do in order to block you out, because you have no cards in hand, nothing crazy, right? You could leave 1 card in hand just to play some mind games, but most of the time you're trying to make Leave No Witness as threatening as possible, so you're probably going to dagger twice. What this card allows you to do is it allows you to play a little bit more mind games with your opponent, or it allows you to do exactly what I just said, but also still have the threat. So because it says when this is in the graveyard, at the start of your turn, you may destroy 2 silver to equip it back. Attack reaction, pay 2. Destroy this target attack action card, defending an assassin attack gets -1. So you have 2 options with that play line I just spoke about. You could either dagger twice, Spider's Bite into Nerve Scalpel with 2 floating, play the Leave No Witness, and you're now threatening Shriek Razors again, so they can't just, like, if they want to block with 2 3-block attack action cards, like in the case of, like, you're just playing a Katsu, if they want to block with, like, 2 Flush to Fist, you can then activate Shriek Razors with that 2 floating and still hit them. So they have to be cognizant of that. You also can play a lot more mind games with your opponent. If you have a hand like these 3 cards, if you have Leave No Witness, Plunder the Poor, and Cut to the Chase, you Nerve Scalpel, pitch Plunder the Poor, Nerve Scalpel, 1 floating, play Leave No Witness, and then they don't know what's in your hand, right? They don't know if you may not be able to pitch for Shriek Razors. They don't know that, right? So they have to play around it. Or even better yet, being able to do Plunder the Poor, Nerve Scalpel, maybe off Tunic. If you have Tunic available, so you have one resource floating, you can cut to the chase and Shriek Razors. There's just a lot more mind games, and I think it plays into how Arachne wants to play with. You never know what they have in hand. You don't know if they have an Herb Blue to pitch for Shriek Razors. You don't know if they have a cut to the chase. Heck, they might have a Command and Conquer or something else, right? A Death Touch. You don't know exactly what they have, especially Arachne. So I do think it's an upgrade for Arachne. I probably would run this over Flick Knives. I really want to test it, but my initial thought is I'd run this over Flick Knives for Arachne. Uziri, I think, still wants Flick Knives. I think it's a little bit better for her, but this, because you're not going to get this back probably with Uziri once you use it once, and Flick Knives allows you to use it twice, and at the end of the game with Uziri, it's just a good way to close out. So it'll be interesting. I definitely think this challenges Flick Knives, though, for the arm slot. I don't think it's as bad as people think it is. Not that people are saying it's like bad, but I think people aren't as impressed. I think people still have not gotten over the fact that legendaries are not going to be broken anymore like they used to be early in the game. We're not going to get any more generic Tunic level power cards. So just a thought for Shriek Razors. I really like the card. I think it's really sweet, and I'm super excited to get my hands on it. And then we pull up some of the other one-off cards we have here. So Smashing Performance, when this attacks, draw a card, then discard a random card. If a card is 6 or more, is discarded this way, destroy a random item in the arena. It's a 3 for 6 at yellow with no block. The card's good. Like, I'm not going to go too deep into this because I kind of talked about it on Twitter. The card's definitely good. It's not a bad card. I did show that the card is slightly below rate in terms of other 3 for 6s. Like, the fact that it's 3 cost is what gets me. I think you either make it 2 cost in a no block or you make it 3 cost with a block. Now, I don't know all the intricacies of, card balancing, but to me, like, if you think of other 3 cost 6s, like, I won't pull it up on the screen just because it would take me too much time to set up my scene. But if I scroll here on Twitter really fast and I go down to where I talked about this card, if you think about other 3 for 6s that Breed has access to, like Barraging Bighorn, which is draw, discard a random card. If it's defended by 2 non-equipment cards as go again, that has a block 3, which in my opinion is even, yes, it costs another card to use, but it's even better than this card. Beast Within, super unassuming, but on a Blood Rush turn is just insane. That's a block 3. Reincarnate goes back into your deck, and if it's discarded at random, that's a block 3. Just over and over, right? Smash Instinct's a 3 for 6, but also Intimidates. That's a block 3. There's just other cards that have on par or better abilities than this one does, and they all block 3. So why was this one a no block, right? It can't get go again, doesn't have Order Away. Its effect is RNG a little bit because most Reinars right now are running like 18 to 21 non-6s in their deck, depending on your list. Maybe more, depending on what you're boarding in. So there's not even a guarantee of this procs. It has RNG for the proc, and it has RNG for what you destroy. If you're playing an Icelander with 2 items on the field, or a Kano with 2 EPOT, two different items or something like that, you can't even target discard or target destroy an item. Like it's at random. I don't know why you would run this over Arg Smash. Like the only way I see this being ran consistently is if mech gets like super strong and you want, as a Reinar, you want 6 cards in your deck to destroy items. That's very possible. But it being a no block was interesting to me. It's not like a terrible card. I think it's still definitely runnable. But when you think about like all the other cards that are no blocks, like they're all very, very powerful. And they all support aggro game plans. Like other no blocks in Reinar is like Pulping and Wild Ride and even Tear Limb from Limb, which can do crazy stuff depending on what you do. The only like below rate no block Reinar has access to is Smash a Big Tree at yellow. It's a 2 for 6, but even that's not even technically below rate. So overall, not a bad card. Just not super impressed with the fact that it's a no block. Doesn't make much sense to me. Tomah the Imperial Flame, draw a card. If you're a royal, instead draw 2 cards. You may pitch 2 red cards. If you don't, banish your hand, go again. Cost 0 to play. This card's insane. I highly suggest going to Fenno Black's channel and watching him and Mara talk about this card. Mara is an amazing Dromai player. She's one of the best in the world at the hero. And she talks about some of the things that you can do with this card. So you basically play this card for 0 cost. You draw 2 cards. Then you pick 2 reds to pitch to. which will make you 2 ash, and then you can pitch, and then once the card resolves, you can pitch again to Furnace. All of a sudden, you go up to 3 resources. This gives access, 1, to cycle, 2, it's an ash generation tool like insane. You're going to make 3 ash just by playing the card pretty much, especially if you're playing Empress and you're playing like all reds. You're guaranteed to make 2 or 3 ash. It also lets you play cards like Necria. Before, Empress had a little bit more trouble playing cards like Necria and Uvia and Dominia and Tumulti because just the consistency to get them out because of how much they cost. But with this card, it's going to be so much easier to do that. Empress is going to have access to 2 and 3 cost dragons essentially now and more. Super good card. It's basically pot of greed for Jomai. So super impressed with this card. And then finally, my favorite card that's been spoiled so far, Already Dead. First off, the artwork is insane. I love how they're all sitting there laughing, but the person that's laughing is already dead in the background in the shadow. They just don't know it yet. Really cool thematic artwork to that. It's a contract card, so it tells me it's mainly for, not mainly, but it is suited for Arachne. Allows you to opt off top of the deck. You are contracted to banish opponent's non-action cards. Whenever you complete this contract, create a silver token. When it hits a hero, banish the top card of their deck and a defending card. This card literally does everything Arachne wants to do. We'll talk about Arachne first. Does everything Arachne wants to do. 1, it's a popper for Jomai. This is perfect. It's a 3 block. It's a 2 for 6, which is a high rate. And it can banish instants. It can banish, but it also can banish cards on the chain. So when you play this, depending on who the hero you're playing, they really, unless they know they're going to block it out, they really can't afford to block with equipment that is battle worn, right? So like as a Katsu, I can't block with breaking scales on this and breeze rider boots. Like if I bought breaking scales, breeze rider boots, and then maybe a defense reaction, but then they cut to the chase this, you just now can banish my breeze rider boots, which is insane, and it's target banish, right? Which is really good. So it's really interesting for Arachne. Again, this can be, you can buff this with cut to the chase. You can shred this. So like it has synergy with all of Arachne's reactions. People are going to have to think twice. And what I said on my live stream is it puts the opponent in a really crappy position. You have a couple options as an opponent when this card's played. You can not block at all, and then they'll banish the top card of your deck, and you get dealt 6 damage. So you lose a card, and you get dealt 6 damage, which doesn't feel good against an Arachne. You can block with 1 card, deal 3 damage, still lose 2 cards because you're going to banish the card from that you blocked with and a top card of your deck. You can block for 6. Let's just say they don't even have a reaction. Let's say this is the only card left. They have no way of pumping it. You still just gave away 2 cards, which against Arachne, he's totally okay with. Like, no matter what, this card is super hard to deal with on the Arachne side. And the fact that you can cut to the chase and shred this makes it really, really good. And for heroes that run Remembrance against Arachne, like a lot of people against Arachne just board in cards and run Remembrance, you're even going to have to be careful of what you banish or what you block with, because it can be banished, right? Like if I'm a Uziri playing against Arachne and I block with a shakedown or with a power card that I might want to codex later, I have to be careful because if it hits, you're going to banish that card. I'm not going to be able to codex it. So really, really powerful, really good card. Can't remembrance anything back in that you banish, so that makes a difference. And with Uziri, this is perfect as well. Like this is a card that you can flip in off Uziri's ability that will banish top card of the deck, and a card that's defending. When people are playing Uziri and this card's in circulation, they're gonna have to think a lot more about when they block. Like if you isolate and someone's like, okay, I'm gonna block just in case. I'm gonna block with as a dash. I'm gonna block with Teclo Foundry Heart and a D react. If I can somehow buff it or somehow prevent you from maybe a Flick Knives and prevent that D react from happening, it's going to then banish your Teclo Foundry Heart. So you have to be really careful. So super good card, insanely powerful for Assassin. One of the better cards they have now, just from all that it does. Like one of the better cards they have, not from a ceiling perspective, but from just a utility perspective. The card's really, really good. Super excited about the card. So yeah, that's all the cards. Nothing too crazy. I really am enjoying the spoiler season so far, and we have a lot more to come. Like right now, Savage Land was the one who did Smashing Performance. I'll put a link down below to the article talking about the spoilers. But so far, Savage Land News has done it. Mara was the one who spoiled the tome. Pulsewave Protocol. The 3 mech cards were from Star City Games. Warband of Balana was from Uber. Shriek Razors from Red Zone Rogue, and Already Dead was the Plague Hive. But we still have like Eric Lundquist, or Doa, as y'all know him, is going to be doing one this week. DM Armada, Josh Lau, Majin Bay, Team Covenant. And then we have Max Ferocity and 3 Floating doing hero reveals, which is really cool. Spoiler season's the 22nd through the 24th. I haven't heard anything yet. If I get a spoiler card, it'd be great. Usually they tell us like a week or two before, so if we're getting one, it should be this week, I would think. Maybe next week, but probably this week. If we're not, it's okay too. But yeah, let me know what y'all's thoughts are. Check out the link down below. Go follow the creators who are spoiling the cards. It should be a lot of fun. And yeah, let me know what y'all's favorite card has been so far. And I'll see y'all next time on TC Talk. Thank y'all so much.